Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of putting a person into a non-elective position. The appointment had to be approved by the whole committee. Usually in the plural, furnishings and equipment, especially for a ship or hotel. A person who is appointed to a job or position. A meeting arranged in advance. Law. The act of disposing of property by virtue of the power of appointment. She allocated part of the trust to her church by appointment. The job to which you were, or hope to be, appointed. He applied for an appointment in the Treasury. A duty that you are assigned to perform, especially in the armed forces. The act of distributing something to designated places or persons. The first task is the assignment of an address to each datum. The act of putting a person into a non-elective position. Law. A transfer of property by deed of conveyance. An undertaking that you have been assigned to do, as by an instructor. The instrument by which a claim or right or interest or property is transferred from one person to another. Identifying word or words by which someone or something is called and classified or distinguished from others. The act of designating or identifying something. The act of putting a person into a non-elective position. The act of putting a person into a non-elective position. Inclined to or serving for the giving of names. The verbal act of naming. The part he failed was the naming of state capitals. In harmony with the spirit of particular persons or occasion. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. Putting clothes on to see whether they fit. Being precisely fitting and right. Making or becoming suitable. Adjusting to circumstances. Usually in the plural, furnishings and equipment, especially for a ship or hotel. A small and often standardized accessory to a larger system. A person who is appointed to a job or position. An official who is appointed. A participant in a date. His date never stopped talking. Date regularly. Have a steady relationship with. The specified day of the month. What is the date today? A meeting arranged in advance. She asked how to avoid kissing at the end of a date. Stamp with a date. The package is dated November 24th. A particular day specified as the time something happens. The date of the election is set by law. Assign a date to. Determine the probable date of. Scientists often cannot date precisely archaeological or prehistorical findings. Go on a date with. Provide with a dateline. Mark with a date. She wrote the letter on Monday, but she dated it Saturday so as not to reveal that she procrastinated. Sweet edible fruit of the date palm with a single long woody seed. The particular day, month, or year, usually according to the Gregorian calendar, that an event occurred. He tried to memorize all the dates for his history class. The present. They are up to date. A mutual promise to marry. The act of giving someone a job. Contact by fitting together. The engagement of the clutch. The act of sharing in the activities of a group. The teacher tried to increase his students' engagement in class activities. A hostile meeting of opposing military forces in the course of a war. He lost his romantic ideas about war when he got into a real engagement. Employment for performers or performing groups that lasts for a limited period of time. A meeting arranged in advance. The act of making up your mind about something. The burden of decision was his. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. A decision unfavorable to the opposition. The trait of resoluteness as evidenced by firmness of character or purpose. Boxing. A victory won on points when no knockout has occurred. Had little trouble in taking a unanimous decision over his opponent. The outcome of a game or contest. The team dropped 3 decisions in a row. The act of making up your mind about something. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. Satisfied with the panel's determination. The quality of being determined to do or achieve something, firmness of purpose. His determination showed in his every movement. The act of determining the properties of something, usually by research or calculation. The determination of molecular structures. Deciding or controlling something's outcome or nature. The determination of grammatical inflections. Event whose occurrence ends something. The proposition arrived at by logical reasoning, such as the proposition that must follow from the major and minor premises of a syllogism. The act of making up your mind about something. He drew his conclusions quickly. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. His conclusion took the evidence into account. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. In conclusion, I want to say. The temporal end, the concluding time. A final settlement. The conclusion of a business deal. An intuitive assumption. Jump to a conclusion. Usually plural, accessory wearing apparel. The act of providing a house or room with furniture and other removable items such as shelves, carpets, appliances, etc. Usually plural, the instrumentalities, furniture and appliances and other movable accessories including curtains and rugs, that make a home, or other area, livable. A human being. There was too much for one person to do. A grammatical category used in the classification of pronouns, possessive determiners, and verb forms according to whether they indicate the speaker, the addressee, or a third party. Stop talking about yourself in the third person. A human body, usually including the clothing. A weapon was hidden on his person. Characteristic of or meant for a single person or thing. An individual serving. Being or characteristic of a single thing or person. Individual drops of rain. A human being. Separate and distinct from others of the same kind. Mark the individual pages. Concerning one person exclusively. We all have individual cars. A single organism. A human being. The immaterial part of a person, the actuating cause of an individual life. Deep feeling or emotion. A human being. A secular form of gospel that was a major black musical genre in the 1960s and 1970s. Soul was politically significant during the civil rights movement. The human embodiment of something. The soul of honor. A human being. Causing or capable of causing death. Mortal combat. A human being. Involving loss of divine grace or spiritual death. Subject to death. Mortal beings. Unrelenting and deadly. Mortal enemy. Become part of. Become a member of a group or organization. Get people together. Get together all those who are interested in the project. Work together on a common enterprise of project. The soprano and the pianist did not get together very well. Get together socially or for a specific purpose. A small informal social gathering. The social act of assembling for some common purpose. His meeting with the salesman was the high point of his day. The act of joining together as one. There was no meeting of minds. A formally arranged gathering. Next year the meeting will be in Chicago. A place where things merge or flow together, especially rivers. A casual or unexpected convergence. He still remembers their meeting in Paris. A small informal social gathering. There was an informal meeting in my living room. A method of tending to or managing the affairs of some group of people, especially the group's business affairs. A kitchen appliance for disposing of garbage. The act or means of getting rid of something. The power to use something or someone. Used all the resources at his disposal. Your usual mood. He has a happy disposition. An attitude of mind, especially one that favors one alternative over others. The act or means of getting rid of something. A natural or acquired habit or characteristic tendency in a person or thing. A swelling with a disposition to rupture. A commercial or industrial enterprise and the people who constitute it. He bought his brother's business. Incidental activity performed by an actor for dramatic effect. His business with the cane was hilarious. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Business concerns collectively. Government and business could not agree. Customers collectively. The activity of providing goods and services involving financial and commercial and industrial aspects. Computers are now widely used in business. An immediate objective. Gossip was the main business of the evening. A rightful concern or responsibility. It's none of your business. The volume of commercial activity. Business is good today. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. The act of occupying or taking possession of a building. Occupation of a building without a certificate of occupancy is illegal. The control of a country by military forces of a foreign power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. Any activity that occupies a person's attention. He missed the bell in his occupation with the computer game. The period of time during which a place or position or nation is occupied. During the German occupation of Paris. A specific piece of work required to be done as a duty or for a specific fee. Estimates of the city's loss on that job ranged as high as $1 million. A crime, especially a robbery. The gang pulled off a bank job in St. Louis. Invest at a risk. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. Arranged for contracted work to be done by others. A state of difficulty that needs to be resolved. It is always a job to contact him. A book in the Old Testament containing Job's pleas to God about his afflictions and God's reply. A damaging piece of work. Dry rot did the job of destroying the barn. A Jewish hero in the Old Testament who maintained his faith in God in spite of afflictions that tested him. An object worked on, a result produced by working. He held the job in his left hand and worked on it with his right. Any long-suffering person who withstands affliction without despairing. A workplace, as in the expression, on the job. Computer science, a program application that may consist of several steps but is a single logical unit. Profit privately from public office and official business. The performance of a piece of work. She did an outstanding job as Ophelia. The responsibility to do something. It is their job to print the truth. Work occasionally. As a student, I jobbed during the semester breaks. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. The state of serving as an official and authorized delegate or agent. A group of representatives or delegates. The appointment of a delegate. The act of appointing summarily, with or without the appointee's consent. The selection of a new member, usually by a vote of the existing membership. Approval. Give her recognition for trying. The process of recognizing something or someone by remembering. A politician whose recall of names was as remarkable as his recognition of faces. The state or quality of being recognized or acknowledged. The partners were delighted with the recognition of their work. Coming to understand something clearly and distinctly. A sudden recognition of the problem he faced. An acceptance, as of a claim, as true and valid. The recognition of the Rio Grande as a boundary between Mexico and the United States. Biology. The ability of one molecule to attach to another molecule that has a complementary shape. Molecular recognition drives all of biology, for instance, hormone and receptor or antibody-antigen interactions are the organization of molecules into larger biologically active entities. Designation by the chair granting a person the right to speak in a deliberative body. He was unable to make his motion because he couldn't get recognition by the chairman. The explicit and formal acknowledgement of a government or of the national independence of a country. Territorial disputes were resolved in Guatemala's recognition of Belize in 1991. The act of appointing summarily, with or without the appointee's consent. The selection of a new member, usually by a vote of the existing membership.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.